Myself, Vaidya Rohit Bartake. I am a Ayurvedic practitioner here in Bombay, and today I am here to introduce you to certain wonders of Ayurveda. First of all, amongst all of you, I would like to know how many people have ever tried any Ayurvedic medicine for any reason in their whole lives till now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So today, because 15th August is coming very near, I want you all to be proud Indians. So I would keep in front of you some different aspect of Ayurveda, how things which are used today, or how medical practice, which is modern medicine which we call, has evolved from Ayurveda, or how things which modern medicine is talking today have been talked by Ayurveda 5000 years back. So I'll give few examples about that. Today's lecture's main aim is to make you all feel proud that you are born in India, and this science also belongs to India. So you should be proud of it, and you should utilize it in your day-to-day life. More and more you should utilize it in your day-to-day life. To start with, all of us know Albert Einstein. He used to say that we owe a lot to Indians. He used to always say that, because India has given us zero. Yeah. So likewise, I would like to make you more proud as Indian and tell you what Ayurveda has given to the world. But India has given it to the world. It makes a big difference. So, great value. So, first part will start with salt. Till 1990, modern medicine never believed that salt intake is ever connected to the edema or any other aspect related to hypertension or edema in the body. It was in 1920 when it was invented that salt plays a major role in hypertension and generalized edema on the body. But you will be surprised, in most ancient texts of Ayurveda, which we call as Bruhatrayi, Charak, Shushruta and Vagbhat, in the very first or second chapter, it has been mentioned that salt intake, the sutra is Lavan Ati Varjayat. They have talked about three things which are to be taken in a controlled manner. Out of them, one is Lavandras or the salts. They have called salt as a poison, and it was known to them since years. So in the treatment of edema, the salt restriction used to play a major role, which we call as Shot. So on the contrary, it was related to hypertension also. So Ayurveda has talked about this restriction of salt intake 5000 years back, but it was invented in 1920. So this is very important thing, and we should also appreciate it, because it is a most important part of today's modern medicinal treatment when we are treating edema or other diseases. There are other two things which are to be avoided. Apart from Lavand, there are other two things which are to be taken in a restricted. I'll tell you about those also. One is Lavand, the other is Kshar, and third is Pimpri. Pimpri is a medicinal herb which is used in day-to-day practice, but it is also used as a rasayan. But still, they have told to have a restricted use of Pimpri when you are having it as a rasayan also. Third is Kshar. Kshar is, you can say, it is a type of salt only, you can say, which are used in different preparations. That is to be taken in a less quantity. Now comes Prameha. Prameha is a disease which has been talked about long back. Today, we know diabetes, which is one of the Prameha. Prameha is of 20 types. Diabetes is one of them. Vatach, Pittach, we divide normally diseases into Vatach, Pittach and Kaphach. So diabetes, which our country is a national, we can say world capital, we are being a world capital in few days, that is a part of Prameha. So in the treatment of Prameha, Ayurveda had talked about differentiating the patient. How did they differentiate? They used to call him as a person who is very fat or healthy. He used to come in a category of Stula Pramehi. A person who was very thin used to come in the category, but still a diabetic, used to come in a category of Krusha Pramehi. So accordingly, the line of treatment in Ayurvedic medicine also used to change in a person, even if the disease was the same. It could be Vatach, Pittach, any type of Prameha, but they used to differentiate the person in this aspect also. Apart from Vat, Pitta, Kapha, whether he is a Stool Pramehi or whether he is a Krush Pramehi. Today, I think recently, it has been discovered by modern medicine also that lean diabetic and obese diabetic, both of them require different line of treatment. That was a new invention, but Ayurveda has talked about it long back, differentiating a person on the depending upon the build, Stula Pramehi and Krusha Pramehi. So this is one important thing which I would like to introduce you to. I don't want to go into treatment in details, but I am just giving you an idea of how Ayurvedic medicine was a complete system of medicine 5000 years back also, and even today we have to look towards it like that. In terms of heart, we know many people suffer from different type of heart diseases. Out of that, one is angina. When you walk, you get some pain. So there are certain medicines which are used for a heart patient, but they are given sublingual. You put the pill below the tongue, and it has an action on the heart, and then you can start walking, so that you don't get a chest pain or whatever reason, whatever complaint you have. You are given sublingual medicines. I think it is given in hypertension also. Earlier it used to be given in hypertension to bring your blood pressure normal. So the mode of administration of the medicine was sublingual. Ayurveda, in a very second chapter of Dinacharya, we talked about Dantadhavan. Dantadhavan includes different medicinal herbs, the sticks of different medicinal herbs which are used to brush the teeth. So obviously the taste of that specific herb depends which taste it is. We differentiate whether it is good for Dantadhavan or whether it is bad for Dantadhavan. Specifically in a heart patient, they have said that Dantadhavan is to be avoided. Why? Because most of the medicines which are being Ayurvedic medicines which are used for Dantadhavan, out of that there are certain herbs which have a bad effect on the heart through sublingual action. So for a heart patient, they have restricted the use of Dantadhavan of specific medicinal herbs. So this is how we can relate sublingual medicine being used and it is being avoided in a heart patient. On the contrary, they used to say ki Madhur, Amla and Lavan, these are the three tastes of which we should not use the sticks to brush the teeth. But today we are using just the opposite. So the problems related to the teeth and the dental hygiene has deteriorated marginally, and we can surely understand what I am trying to say. So this sublingual action of a herb was also earlier known to the Rishis who have written the Ayurvedic text. So it is nothing new invention. Recently I came across an article where some people have carried on a research in a pregnant autopsy. Autopsy was carried out in a pregnant woman who has just delivered and passed away. And she was lactating, obviously. She had delivered and passed away. and obviously she will be doing breastfeeding if she would have been alive. But when they did the autopsy of that person, they found out that there is a certain channel which is connecting the uterus to the mammary glands, which they called it as a milk channel. But Ayurvedic, you can say Ayurvedic fundamentals have talked about this long back. They say कि रस धातु, which is the first dhatu formed from whatever food we eat, from the ahar ras or from the food we eat, the first best part, which is, or you can say the first good part of that food is called as ahar ras, and from that ahar ras, the first dhatu which is formed is rasa dhatu. Then comes rakta dhatu, mans dhatu, med, asti, majja, shukra, in this order. But rasa dhatu has two upadhatus called as raja and sthanya. Raja is a menstrual fluid and sthanya is a milk during lactation. Normally they say, according to Ayurvedic fundamentals, whenever a female is menstruating, the sthanya part is not being visible. Only one thing at a time. It is connected. And when a person delivers a baby, you can say the raja part is stopped and it is diverted towards the breast, and then lactation starts. So indirectly they used to talk about a channel which is connecting both. For a lactating person there would not be menses, and for a menstruating person there would not be lactation except for during the end of the lactation period. So this is a channel which was talked about long back, but it has been discovered now that there is some connection between the lactation during post delivery and the menstrual cycle. So this is a very important thought which has been introduced. Then some gynec issues which are very common nowadays. Few are uterine fibroids, polycystic ovarian disease, cysts in the ovaries, cervical and breast cancers. So now these cervical and breast cancers also we can relate to the connection of raja and sthanya. Sometimes, or most of the times, it happens that normal menstrual cycle is not visible in females who are menstruating. The definition of normal menstrual cycle is not being fulfilled, and which is not known to most of the people, and they feel because it is happening with everyone around, so it must be normal. What happens is, this improper menstrual